I'm Jordan Hatfield. This is Faster Film Critic. Today on the show, we talk Unforgiven with Kolter and Chase Fugel. Unforgiven is a 1992 Western film directed by Clint Eastwood, starring Gene Hackman, Morgan Freeman, and of course, Clint Eastwood. And now there's only one thing left to do, and that's ask yourself this question. Do you feel ready, punk? Then get in. We're going cinephiling. Kolter, it's good to have you back on the pod, man.
Hey, thanks a bunch, fellers.
Talking movies a shit time when Kolter's not around.
Yeah, it is.
Which one did I miss?
You missed...
Nobody too. You got your priorities screwed up. You were entertaining friends instead of watching movies with us.
I was there the whole time. I just didn't have anything to say.
Well, we watched it and didn't have much to say, man. That movie sucked. You picked a good one to miss. Speaking of talking about movies, it's fascinating to me that talking about a movie can really change your understanding of it.
Hell yeah.
And definitely bring new appreciation to it.
Yeah.
That's why I do this podcast. That's why I listen to movie podcasts.
Yeah.
And this film, Unforgiven, is a movie you got to talk about. When I first saw this film, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. But it was in thinking about it and talking about it with others that I really began to understand it and appreciate it and fall in love with it.
Okay.
Was that your experience?
Mine smacked hard right out of the gate. I mean, as soon as I got done, I've seen this movie a bunch of times. Like you, I think the first few viewings of it, I thought, that was a damn good movie. But I think film school tends to change and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to sound too pretentious. But once you understand kind of the themes of a movie and what it's going for, I think the deconstructive aspect of this movie, every time I hear the title Forgiven or hear somebody talk about Forgiven, I kind of think of it as the Western that sort of ended modern Westerns. For a couple of reasons, it was so different, too. And I think people... After that, they were like, we're not going to do any better than this. It was so atypical of what we thought when we think of Western movies that it was just, it's poignant, man. It's got a lot of kind of big things to say.
It's definitely considered to be the revisionist Western.
Yep. Yeah.
It takes so many of those old Western tropes and just flips them on their head.
Yeah.
Now, Chase, this is the first time you've seen Unforgiven, right?
Yeah, first time I watched it just last night.
Get out of here.
So what'd you think?
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, this is my first time talking about it.
Well, let's dig in. You know, this film really challenges the heroic mythology of gunfighters, you know, the glorified cowboy.
Yeah.
And one of the messages that really comes through the strongest for me, and I'm sure it is for you as well, is the physical and psychological suffering that violence brings.
Yes.
So first you have the hooker, the whore, I don't know if you can call them that anymore, the sex worker. And she gets all slashed up. So she's got these scars on her face. She's wearing the physical manifestation of violence on her face.
Yeah.
And William Money, played by Clint Eastwood, is suffering from the psychological aspects of violence.
Yes.
A
Yeah.
violent life that he has lived has caught up with him, and it's torturing him psychologically.
Absolutely.
And you see this throughout the whole film.
Yeah, he wears it on his face, his whole body, for the whole movie.
And then you got the chauffeur kid who desires violence. He wants violence. He wants to prove he's a tough guy. And then when that hits... he breaks down and cries like a little baby.
Yeah, he breaks.
And this
literally.
is so different from, again, the glorified cowboy that we had seen up until this point in time.
Yeah.
The violence in Westerns was applauded.
Yep.
It was often romanticized.
Yeah,
Exactly. It was
romanticized,
often romanticized. And the hero was always handsome and strong and proud and violent. And this film really took it from a different angle, and I think that surprised a lot of people.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think it was... really reflective of Clint Eastwood's entire career.
Yeah.
Every film he made before that, he's just this cold-blooded killer who's also really cool. It's all glorified. And this is his, like, reflection on that. Like, what does it really look like?
Yeah.
The loneliness, like the reality of it.
Yeah, I think he was...
It was also the last Western he's ever made.
Yeah. I think he really wanted to
to
say
end on.
something about violence, I think in general, but in particularly this genre. And he had to talk Gene Hackman into doing this because Gene Hackman, up to that point in his career, had also played a lot of violent roles, played a lot of scuzzy dudes. And he was like, no, I don't want to do more violent movies. I don't want to play more violent roles. And Clint Eastwood kind of had to tell him, like, hey, if we do this right, we're actually saying something very important about violence in general and the impact that it can have. And really encouraged Gene to take a look at the script. He did, and then he said, yep, okay, I'm in.
And I'm so glad he took the role because he is absolutely fantastic in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he as a character, it's funny. He's clearly the antagonist, but he's kind of the most honest character in the whole movie.
Gene Hackman is my favorite part about this film. I think he's wonderful. In fact, he won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role here in Unforgiven. And one thing that I love so much about his character, he's the villain in the story. But he's not the villain because he's evil. He's the villain because he thinks he's righteous.
Yeah.
Little Bill Daggett thinks he's doing a noble thing by protecting the city. And in his mind, he uses that nobility to justify some very immoral and violent actions.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Because it's for the greater good. And I think there's so much depth in this idea. I love this concept for a villain in a movie because the villain among us often isn't the one with the evil heart.
Yeah.
It's the one with the self-righteous heart.
Yep.
Really deep. I love this idea.
Yeah. The best bad guys, there's always at least a couple of choices they make, a couple of things that they do that we as audience members might go, yeah, I might have done the same thing in that situation, even if the rest of the shit they're doing is just awful. Makes them relatable, which makes them interesting. It
makes all of them hard to just label as something like villain or good guy, hero, sidekick, things like that. Yeah. It avoids those.
Yeah.
I mean, there really isn't a good guy in this picture. Every character is morally complex.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even, Clint Eastwood's character, William Money, you can tell he's trying to leave the past behind him. He's trying to neglect all the regret he has for who he was. He's working on a simple farm. He's struggling, but he's trying to raise two kids. And when he decides to take that first drink after having not drank any alcohol for, 20 years, and it's because of what they did to his friend Ned, played by Morgan Freeman in this, man, he becomes the bad guy. You understand and you're behind his motivation for what he's about to do because we get to see the friendship and we understand that. But man, he becomes terrifying. I gotta say, it's in a really cool way, and you're not rooting against him, man. But the shift he takes is awesome. It's super impactful.
Yeah.
Again, this is one aspect of the film that I love is the characters, the hero, the villain, and everyone in between is morally complex. Yeah. It reminds me of this quote I've heard, and I'm not going to get it exactly right because I don't remember it word for word, but it's something along the lines of, legends aren't born, they're fabricated, usually by men selling books.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think the way they bring in W.W. Beauchamp in this, how he's following English Bob.
Right.
And he's writing down, he's trying to create this book. And of course, English Bob is fabricating all these stories. Yeah. He's making up these lies about who he is. And W.W. Beauchamp's writing it all down. He's trying to make a book and turn English Bob into a legend.
Right.
And then comes Little Bill Daggett, right? Played by Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
And Little Bill beats up English Bob, runs him out of town.
Yeah.
And W.W. Beauchamp, this author, sees that English Bob is not who he says he was.
Right.
And Bill Daggett starts to tell his tall tales about how good he is, about how he... And so, Beauchamp's writing all this down, and he's going to make a book about little Bill Daggett and how much of a legend he is. And then comes William Money, and W.W. Beauchamp sees dollar signs, and he starts writing it. All he's trying to do is just create these legends of characters who are morally flawed, who are complex, who have made tons of mistakes, but that doesn't get in the book, right?
Yeah.
And I think that aspect of the film, it's so subtle, but it's also so powerful. The message is there.
Oh,
that the legends aren't born, they are created. They are fabricated by men selling books. I think that is an incredibly important and thought-provoking message in this movie.
Yeah, it's so cleverly integrated too. Doesn't beat you over the head. This character that's kind of this pulp writer, it's very much kind of a manifestation of the glorification of some of the violence that were in Westerns, some of which Clint Eastwood himself was in. So it was a really clever way to kind of make that point without kind of beating you over the head about it as an audience member. And
it blends into the story. It feels like it naturally comes from it. Not like it was thrown in there to try and have deeper themes or whatever else. It just feels like a character that lives in that world.
Yeah, very much.
It blends in so naturally to the story that if you're not careful, you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what I liked probably most about his character thematically was his inability to take a stand on anything.
Yeah.
Or take action or have his own beliefs. I mean, you don't even know what this guy believes. He's jumping from character to character, kind of just giving them a highlight reel however he can, glorifying it, as you were saying, Jordan. And it's that indifference that perpetuates violence throughout the entire film. If he were to take a stand earlier, so much would have been avoided.
Yeah, he doesn't even learn after he's caught in the middle of the ending gun battle. I mean, after that's over, the first thing he asks William Money is, well, how did you know how to take out first? Did you shoot the best shot first? And, William Money's response is, I got lucky, which implies one of the coolest things about this film, which is that firefights were largely going to be clumsy and chaotic. They weren't like we'd seen in other Western movies. It boiled down to luck, When you're good enough to keep your cool, keep a cool head in these moments, which is just friggin' masterly portrayed in that final firefight, where everyone's pulling out their pistols and just panicking and, trying to shoot somebody 12 feet away and missing, whereas Money's just cool, calculated, picks his shots. But yeah, even then, that guy's like, well, what'd you do? How did you? So even then, he's trying to interject like weird little things he can do to kind of make the story more interesting than it actually was.
And keep himself alive.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
From the perspective of violence, I think this is the perfect movie to follow up Nobody 2. We live in an era of John Wick, where there's this extremely exaggerated violence.
Yeah, very
where guys
stylized.
are getting just completely beat up with lead pipes and stabbed and shot and taking blows that are absolutely impossible to take without serious injury or death. And then standing up and walking away from it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, John Wick, it is cover-to-cover, unrealistic, exaggerated violence.
Yeah.
And not only does this movie, Unforgiven, call that out, but the way that it portrays violence in such a realistic manner is A, a breath of fresh air, and B, powerful in itself.
Yeah.
There's the scene where they're out in the desert where they first come across the two cowboys that they're hunting.
Yep.
And the guy falls off his horse and breaks his leg, and he's crawling away, and he's in serious pain. And he gets shot one time, and he is wailing.
Yeah.
And he's scared. And there's emotional weight to that.
Yes.
Right? And he's begging for water. That suffering from one bullet wound and the psychological trauma, the physical pain of all of this is so very realistic and important. And that is completely absent from most of cinema today.
Yeah, it is. Man, they were firing big damn bullets back then, too. I mean, it would knock you on your ass, and that'd be it.
Even the hand-to-hand combat, though. Even guys getting punched, they're not taking 50, 60 blows and still going. One hit to the head, man, it's going to ring your bell.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the film portrays that here.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about exposition for a minute?
Okay.
I feel like this is the biggest weakness of the film. I feel like constantly they are telling us how bad and how mean William Money was.
Okay.
He was involved in such despicable things, but now he's so good. Yeah. And it felt like that was the first 3/4 of the movie. I mean, you've got, hey, William, I'm going to go kill some guys. You want to come? No, I used to be mean, and I used to kill guys for fun. I would kill men and women and children just to entertain myself. I was so mean. I was rotten to my very core. But then I got married, and now I'm good. Hey, William, you want to drink with me? No, I used to drink like a fish. I drank whiskey morning, afternoon, and night, but it would lead me to do mean things, rotten things like kill men and women and children, and I don't drink no more because I got married, and now I'm good. Hey, William, I'm a hooker. You want a free one? No, ma'am. I used to have sex all the time, but then I got married, and I don't have sex no more because I'm a good man, and I don't kill, and I don't drink, and I don't sex because I'm a good man. Yeah, I just feel like they were beating us over the head with it. I mean, it was constantly, he was so dark and so evil and so ruthless and so mean, and now he's so good, and I just thought the exposition around this character was weak. It was the weakness of the film, in my opinion.
I think it's necessary, though. It mirrors the way he feels.
Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. I love it. It's him coping. I mean, you watch him cope.
That's interesting. Trying to convince himself almost that he's not that guy, because I think that's one of the masterful things about the depiction of his character is that no matter how hard he tries to escape his past, he can. And it ends up being this loop where it comes full circle back around and he's right back to the person that he's used to being. I didn't notice it.
I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
You didn't notice it. I'm glad you didn't notice it. I didn't take it as he was trying to convince himself.
Yeah.
I took it as he was trying to convince me as an audience member.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they were constantly telling me how bad he was and now how good he is. You know, he used to do this and he doesn't anymore. He used to do that and he doesn't anymore. Hey, Ned, remember that time I shot that guy in the mouth and his teeth went out the back of his head? Like, I mean, it was just these constant, I was so ruthless. I killed so many people. I drank so much. And now I don't. Then I got married. And now I'm a good person. And now I'm trying. And I just felt like that was so heavy-handed throughout the film. It really took me out of his character.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, Chase felt the opposite. That, to me, was the weakness of the film. That and the music. I thought the music was cheesy.
Yeah. The line at the end, right before he's going to kill Bill, and Bill comes back and says, "You killed women and children," and da-da-da-da-da. And he goes into that line, "Yeah, I've killed women and children and just about everything that walked or crawled at some point." That's kind of all you need. So I see it both ways. I didn't notice the exposition, which is hard to do in the first place, but it didn't bother me as much as I think it bothered you. I noticed it, but you probably could have gotten away with not having that, and then just that one line at the end. Because that, man, he's steely-eyed staring down the barrel of Bill and tells him that. It kind of does send shivers down your back. Like, ooh, Jesus Christ, this guy's, yeah. Now I believe it.
I would have preferred them hinting at it, or maybe even some mystery around it.
Yeah.
Like, there's this reputation of him, and he's denying it, right? And so you're not really sure, is he this bad guy?
Yeah.
Does he have this dark
Sure.
and troublesome and heavy past? And then at the end, he admits to it. I felt like that would have been a lot stronger. But the fact that it was just constant exposition all the way through, I got...
To that
I was
point,
like, guys, I get it.
I think you could have used the writing device of the character of the pulp writer to kind of play on that. You know, all these people are saying these stories about him. Oh, yeah, is it true, this and this and that? And instead of him acknowledging that, if you just had him kind of brush it off, ignore it, not want to acknowledge it, not want to talk about it, that might have said more than him actually saying those things. Again, it didn't bother me, but because that element was already there, it would have been cool to see him kind of not indulge that, which would have lent to some mystery.
I agree entirely. I mean, I've highlighted this enough. I don't think this greatly hurts the film, but I feel like it is a weakness in the movie.
Yeah.
And otherwise, what would be a perfect film, in my opinion? Again, that and the music.
Yeah. It's just as interesting when you have characters like Ned, when you mentioned that firefight they had kind of in the desert hills, and he's got that guy in his sights, and he kind of looks at William and he goes, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, there's something, there was an interesting, now we're seeing like actual manifestation of someone's actions that leads us to believe as an audience, like, he's been there, he's done that, and he doesn't want to do it again. Like, he's having trouble with that, which is, I kind of found interesting.
So most people consider this to be one of the greatest Westerns ever made. Would you guys agree with that?
Yes.
Oof.
I would.
I don't know if I've seen enough Westerns to confidently say, but I mean, for me, this is probably my favorite Western.
All right.
What do you think,
So
Jordan?
that's a yes for Chase.
Yeah, it's a yes for me.
It's a yes for you too?
Yeah.
Huh. I can't see it in my top 5. I could maybe see it in my top 10.
Okay.
Really?
I mean, I do think it is a fantastic Western.
Yeah, that's right.
What is your top 3?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not prepared to answer that question, but some of the ones that come to mind are For a Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, Stagecoach, Django Unchained. I really like McCabe and Miss Miller.
Yeah.
You've got more modern Westerns like No Country for Old Men, Hell or High Water, The Hostels, all great movies. This is going to sound a little contradictory because I said the music in Unforgiven was bad, and the music in this film is absolutely atrocious. But have you guys ever seen Open Range?
I haven't.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say it feels a little bit like a Hallmark film.
Oh, no.
I know, right? I don't agree with it, but I can see where they're coming from, mainly
Yeah.
because of the music. The music is so bad.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love Open Range. I think that is a great movie with terrible music. Some of the love sequences are sappy, but I think it's a great Western.
My brother and I used to work on Hallmark Westerns.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah, and they are hot. No, they are cold poop compared to Open Range. Open Range has got some of the best. It's got some great gunfights in it.
Dude, it's got my favorite gunfight in any Western.
Yeah, and it's one of those, when seeing it in the theater, when somebody fired a gun, it was loud. Like, it made me jump in my seat. I'd throw Hateful Eight.
Oh, dude, the Hateful Eight.
Top 5, I think, in terms of a Western.
Top 5 Western, dude. It's top 5, period, man. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Kolter, what would you say is your favorite Western?
If I were to belt one off the top of my list, it would be Unforgiven.
Okay. All right. There it is. The favorite one.
If I had to come up with one right there, yeah, it's Unforgiven.
Well, there you go.
What was the next best Western after this released in 92? Because I do feel like this kind of, after this, studios were like, because it is such a revisionist version of a Western movie, it kind of felt like, well, that was the swan song of that. Let's not mess with this again and it was many, many years until I think another decent one came out.
Yeah, it seems like the Westerns that came out after Unforgiven, that I really love and appreciate, came out long after Unforgiven.
Yeah.
3:10 to Yuma was 2007. Hell or High Water was 2016. Hostels was 2017. Open Range was 2003. That was 10 years after Unforgiven.
When was True Grit? The Coen brothers.
True Grit. Yeah, True Grit's a great one. I forgot about that movie. That's like 2005,
That's got to be around there. Early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Let me look. It's 2010. 2010 was True Grit. I really like The Ballad of Buster Scruggs by the Coen brothers. Did you guys see that?
It was good.
Yeah.
That was a great little collection of Western films right there. You're right, Kolter. It seems like after Unforgiven, everyone was like, whoa, we got to take a break from this genre. We got to give it at least a decade before we can revisit this. So you're right, man. Good point. But before we finish this episode, I want to talk about the ending of Unforgiven for just a second.
Okay.
The message of this story is one of anti-violence. It really highlights the psychological trauma, the physical trauma, the pain, the suffering that violence brings. But right there at the final act, in the climax of this movie, William Money has a change of heart. And man, he goes to town. He fully embraces violence. And man, he seeks his revenge. Do you think this is too contradictory to the message of the story?
Damn. That's a great point.
I don't think so. I think it's a cautionary tale. As badass as it is when he goes in and just doesn't give a shit anymore. It hurts to see him like that. Like,
that's a great point.
Just seeing that end was hard. And I think it was supposed to be hard. It was like, dang.
The end was probably my favorite part of the movie. And I hate to say that, because the end is when he embraces violence.
Yeah.
And so this whole movie has been talking about the psychological trauma of violence and the pain of violence and the suffering of violence. And then we get to the violence, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And I think most audiences are like, yes.
Yeah.
Which feels like I missed the message of the movie. I'm glad that it ends the way it does, because it's a thrilling aspect of the movie.
Yeah.
And here is Clint Eastwood being Clint Eastwood again. But the end is Clint Eastwood from A Fistful of Dollars and a few dollars more and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I think baked into this theme is the idea that once you slip into a life of violence, you're stuck there. I mean, it's something that you kind of just go back to all too easily. And I think part of the message is, although maybe not effectively conveyed, is to just lead a good life, do what you can to avoid slipping into a situation in which that's your only solution, because so easily can you be sucked back in that's part of it. And I don't know that it was, if it hit as much, but I mean, obviously it's about that loop of, yes, you were kind of a murderous scumbag before, you've tried to turn things around, and you've got a lot of regret for what you do, but ultimately this is who you are, and it's because of the choices that you did not make 20, 30 years ago that now you're stuck in this situation. So it is interesting. Man, at the end of the day, it's a movie, right? You got to give people what they want. You try to kind of bathe that in this situation, which, like, yeah, he's a monster, but he's fighting other monsters, so somehow that's okay, or that's more palatable, because what they did to his friend was so heinous and horrible that now you want to see them get theirs. It's a tough thing, man. Like, I hate to always take this stance, but you can make the argument either way that it's a little gratuitous. It kind of goes against what the characters are trying to do with their own direction and what the story's trying to kind of convey. So, yeah.
Do you think if there isn't a big shootout at the end, if the end ends in peace, if they sit down around, a couple of drinks and they talk out their differences and it doesn't end in violence, is the movie nearly as good?
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
Of course not. It has to have the violence.
Yeah, it does. Well, because Ned's kind of, we know Ned's got a checkered past like William, but I think where William failed, Ned succeeded. He's kind of happier. I think he's actually trying to enjoy life more, whereas William's just going through the motions of what he thinks he's supposed to do, but he's not really reformed. So when Ned goes, it's like, oh shit, like that's, he was an actual, seemingly a good guy. So of course the bad guy's got to get theirs at this point. No, you couldn't have him sit down and play checkers and end with a big hug. No.
I don't believe the message of the film is peace. After all, the title is Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I think it more is meant to highlight the effects of violence.
Yeah.
And it asks questions about whether revenge is truly just.
Right.
You've got the woman, the prostitute who was wronged and cut up.
Yeah.
And for those looking for justice on her behalf, just used it as an excuse for greed and vengeance and more violence and bloodshed.
Absolutely.
Of course, the opposite of violence is peace, but the film argues that the true legacy of violence is destruction of lives, of souls, and of truth. That's my takeaway.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and rate Unforgiven on a scale of 1 to 5. What do you guys think?
I thought Unforgiven was amazing. Honestly, probably one of my favorite scenes of all time right now. I don't know why I loved it so much, but when little Bill sets the gun down on the table and gives it to the writer, just that entire scene and interaction, the way it unfolds was one of my favorite things I've ever seen in a movie. I thought it was fantastic. This is a 5-star for me, for sure.
5 stars?
Yeah, if it's an easy 5 stars. I think if I had to pick up a scene, and it's a little cliche, it's when William Money walks into the bar at the end looking to kill little Bill. He asks, who's the owner of this shithole establishment? And then just kills the guy dead, and he's standing right there, and little Bill, well, sir, you are a coward, and blah, 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 blah. But man, just to watch Clint Eastwood's transformation from the character that we kind of got today, this guy couldn't even get up, couldn't even mount a horse, couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a gun. And then to watch him go from this kind of incapable, incompetent, aging, kind of tragic figure to this steely-eyed, cold-blooded killer was just awesome. I mean, the look in his eye, man, I don't think I've ever seen a look in an actor's eye that so convincingly conveyed to me that, yep, this guy is a cold-blooded killer, and he's got the look on his face like he's about to gun that whole room of people down. And there was something just so effectively chilling about that. And, of course, why he's doing it. I mean, he loved his friend. I like that his friend doesn't look like the typical friend that you'd think William Money would have. I think there's something kind of endearing and sweet about that at a time that there was a ton of awful sentiment about different people from different places. So I felt that touching, that, yeah, he's terrifying. He's turned back into this monster, but he's doing it for revenge of his friend. And I don't know. Every time I watch this movie, I'm very impressed. I think it is his Clint Eastwood's best movie. I know that's maybe a controversial statement, but it's a fairly simple, straightforward story. But it's just the writing, I think, is awesome. The casting is perfect, so it's an easy 5 for me.
I love that you guys love this film. I loved it as well. Maybe not quite as much as you guys, but I do love the message of this film. I love the complexity of the characters. I love the story. There's a lot here to love. There's a lot here that I loved. I'm going to come in at a 4-star. I think it's absolutely great. We want to know, what did you think of Unforgiven? Please tell us.
Well, that Jordan Hadfield seems like a nice enough feller. But seeing how he was poking fun at me in last week's episode about me doing my voice impersonations, I'm doing this week's recommendation entirely in this voice right here. And that recommendation is 1993's Tombstone. If you ain't seen Tombstone, I ain't sure what rock you're living under, but with a cast like Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Sam Elliott, Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, and Powers Booth, I don't know where you been. And I guess we was wrong. This Western here did come out after Unforgiven. Who knew? Well, partner, saddle up, mount your horse, and get yourself to one of them streaming things or something rather, and check this one out. Toodle-oodles, bitches.
Thank you for listening to Faster Film Critic, and please join us next week when we talk Caught Stealing, the newest film by Darren Aronofsky. You can also follow us on Letterboxd, Cinetrack, and Instagram. Email us at fasterfilmcritic@gmail.com. Hit us up with questions, comments, feedback, review requests, and please share this episode with your movie-loving friends.